This is fucking sick. I mentioned on Adonis Gang, let me show you the post, that I was going to make a new bonus course for the Adonis School members if a bunch of guys from Adonis Gang upgraded. So basically, I said, if you upgrade to Adonis School from Gang, I'll make a new course for everyone inside of the school. Look how many guys have come together to upgrade for this. We've gotten about 62 of these fucking legends came in to bring us this extra course inside of Adonis School. As you know from what I released to you before, this was not in the plan. So this Red Pill course was a complete bonus that I've just spent 3 days of my deep work time. Like you can see the time right now, it's not even 6 a.m. 3 days. So every guy in here right now has brought this course to us. Look at their names, send them a message, thank them. Look out for them when you see, like, if you recognize anyone's name in like a community post, make sure you thank them for upgrading. All 62 of these guys have brought us an extra bonus course. When Adonis School grows, I bring even more value. I work harder. I spend more money onto it. And so when we hit these student milestones, you get more stuff. When we hit 1,500, which we're not far from right now, I've got some nice things coming. So keep on. Basically, the way you help Adonis School grow is just by going on to Adonis Gang and just saying good things, like writing a testimonial, talking about your experience, answering questions. Every week or so, I do a post where I kind of tell the guys to upgrade. And especially if you comment on that with your experience of Adonis School, hyping it up, saying it's awesome, telling the guy, just join right now, speaking with conviction, telling him it will change your life, it will help you make money, all this stuff, then you'll make it grow. And as you've seen, the more it grows, the more value that you get. And you never pay more than what you're currently paying. So you get more calls, you get more courses, you get guest calls with millionaires. I've done another course and I'm doing a new one soon as well. We get special events and everything else. So it's awesome that we've had a bunch of guys, huge list of guys, upgrade to bring us this bonus, because Adonis School is growing at such an incredible fast rate, which is so good to see. So, what is the red pill? The red pill is men's sexual strategy. If you had no restraint, if you had, let's say, triple or six times the testosterone and you weren't scared of what anyone would think of you, this is how you would go about your sexual strategy. You would become an alpha male and you would try to impregnate as many women as possible to carry on your bloodline. That's like natural male genetic, like sexual strategy. Of course, in the modern day, there's so many problems with that, but that's like pushing to an extreme side of what men, if they weren't being pussies, would be desiring. If men, for example, didn't have these limitations on them. We don't want to be pushing too far into that, but taking a step into the red pill sexual strategy will undoubtedly improve your love life, your sex life, whether you're in a serious relationship, a marriage, or you're looking for something. The blue pill is kind of like the complete opposite. That's the strategy that we've been fed from the modern world that has told us that we should act like soft, caring chumps, like nice guys. That if you are the nerd who obsesses over the girl, like in the Hollywood movies, eventually you'll get her because she'll realize is that that jock that she's currently seeing isn't good enough. You've probably seen those movies like Spider-Man, right? So the cute girl is with the jock and the nerd fantasizes about her, and the jock's like not treating her right, and eventually the nerd gets her. What Hollywood is actually doing very intelligently is creating the next generation of blue pill, of basically chumps who will stand in the shadows whilst their dream girl is getting piped by basically the alpha male, and they'll happily accept her afterwards. The alpha male, like the jock in those movies, is the red pill guy who's literally like getting to sleep with her casually, enjoying time with her. And yes, they fight and they argue and stuff, but that's not a bad thing because he's still the one who's fucking her, whilst the guy in the corner is the one like masturbating to her and hoping that he gets her in 10 years once like the jock has moved on to the next girl. So you can really start to think, okay, which one do you want to be? You don't have to be a complete asshole. You don't have to be like just like casual sex fuckboy, and we'll discuss like degeneracy in the next module. But you probably don't want to be the nerd who's like staring at the girl, obsessing over her, because we've been that guy before. We've been that blue pill guy who's struggling with women's attraction, and it sucks. We followed what the world told us. We followed what teachers told us, what the Hollywood movies told us, what even girls themselves told us. Just be nice, just be this, just be this, and it didn't fucking work. The red pill is the sexual strategy for men who are fed up with trying it the blue pill way, being a nice guy, being this, and actually now wanting to change up your entire identity to becoming more of, let's say, a stereotypical masculine man. The blue pill then is the complete opposite for that. So on the extreme sides, for example, we can say the red pill guy would be the caveman Genghis Khan warlord who goes and is such an alpha male that he fucks at 1,000 women and gets them all pregnant. On the other side, the blue pill guy will be the guy who marries a single mother and then takes on her kids as well. That's like as blue pill as you can get, is like being a guy who marries a woman who's already got children with another man, with the alpha male, and you help raise that child. That's as blue pill as you can get. There can be times where that's actually wholesome, and there's good, strong men out there that have adopted and whatever. That okay, fine. But just in terms of fulfilling your biological sexual strategy, it is for you to basically become as alpha as possible and to have as many sexual options as possible. That is undeniably, we can't argue against just pure biology and evolution. That's what your natural brain and body are trying to tell you to do. In the modern world, we don't really push as much for that, but I will tell you that every step you take towards becoming a little bit more red pilled, you probably will feel more authentic. You'll probably feel more like, oh shit, this is actually, it works, and it's kind of like how I was supposed to be. The purple pill is kind of like, at this point now, it's just like people just start making up new fucking words and stuff. The purple pill is kind of like a mix between the blue and red, and that's probably where most of us will end up. Where, for example, pure red pill will be like, you'll never even want to get serious with a girl, you'll stay single, you just want to fuck and stuff. Purple pill is kind of like when you've got blue pill goals, like for example, you want to have children, you want to have a long-term relationship, but you stay red pilled inside of that. So I assume most of us will actually be purple pilled. I'll use the phrase red pill in all of this. Basically, we all need to become maybe 10, 25, 50% more red pilled, and that will take us to a good like purple pill, obviously, because blue and red mixed together is purple, right? And yeah, go over to the next module as soon as you're ready. There's going to be an interesting course. I'm telling you right now, like the red pill changed my life forever. If I didn't find this stuff and implement it and become red pilled as fuck when I was younger, you wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have changed the world today. I would have been just a casual, like little blue pill idiot. I would have basically like married my first girlfriend or the second girlfriend and just stayed with them. And I would have just been content with life. And it showed me a light out where I could become more of a man. And every step, like I said, that I took towards this direction actually excited me. I started to have the skill of being able to turn girls on and get them so wet that it would literally drip outside of them. I'm not even exaggerating. Like when I learned what I'm about to teach you today, I became the kind of guy that was sexually desirable to women, and it was like they would literally, I can't even explain to you because it sounds like I'm lying to a blue pill guy. When a red pill guy tells his stories, it always sounds like lies and stuff, but hopefully you can believe me because I've got a track record of fucking telling you the truth, right? Girls were literally fighting over me. They were arguing with each other in nightclubs. They'd come home at like, after the nightclub and literally just want me to fuck them. Like they were desperate for me to fuck them. I had multiple girls. I remember being in university and I had like 3, 4 girls in my student accommodation that wanted me to fuck them, that I'd consistently be meeting 1, 2 times a week. And you don't have to be a degenerate like we'll speak about in the next module, but having the skill of being able to turn a woman on and get her lustful for you, even if you want to be the most devout Muslim or Christian man, you still need to learn this. You still need to learn this because in your, let's say you want just a full on serious marriage, you still want her to be able to be like horny for you. Of course you do, right? Even if you are strict religious, you still need to be. In fact, one of the things I've realized is strictly religious men are actually more red pilled than not, especially Muslims. Muslims in general are just fucking red pilled. And it seems like every other kind of culture, the more religious they are, that they still push into red pill. They still understand a man and woman's dynamic. They still understand that a man should be the leader of the household and a woman should be more like the first mate, but never the team, the captain. So it's interesting that religious people actually understand the red pill well because of like the dynamic that their holy books have passed down to them. It's only younger guys that are scared of it meaning to be degenerate, which we'll work on in the next module. So go and watch that as soon as you're ready. When you hear of the red pill, you often hear it being degenerate. So the red pill can be, for example, there's YouTubers like Fresh and Fit, and they're arguing with these OnlyFans girls, and they're saying that men should sleep with 50 women, and women can't sleep with men, but a man should sleep around. And the internet space has kind of diluted what the point of the message is. To be red pilled is an absolutely crucial part of your development as a man. I really think that a man is not fit for a long-term relationship, or even not fit to even be single either, if he doesn't understand these things. Because let's say if you're single and you're not even getting girls, it's an awful experience. It like suddenly you're addicted to porn, you're looking at women in a weird way, you're obsessive, you feel lonely, everything. So you're not winning. If you're in a blue pill relationship and you're in like, a long-term relationship, it's kind of cute, and you're farting next to her and stuff, we're like best friends. That becomes problematic as well, because your sex life goes down, and suddenly the passion that brought you guys together starts diffusing. And many people in a relationship will tell you that this is just completely normal, only if you let go of the red pill side of your identity. So the red pill, once you learn these things that we're about to teach you today, will be honestly one of the most important, most powerful parts of your self-improvement journey so far. I promise you this. I guarantee there'll be a couple of guys writing posts in a few months' time after taking this course, that this course was actually one of the biggest parts. Not even just fitness, not even like making money and meditating. It was actually learning about the red pill, because it just gives you like the kind of natural identity that you were supposed to have as a man before. Or all of this bullshit where they've told you to not act like a man, where they've throttled your testosterone and they've told you to act like a little girl. It's a hugely important part. Learning how to be with girls, learning how to speak to girls, learning how to turn girls on is, of course, a hugely important part of life as a man, even if you're not going to use it for degeneracy. Many men use the strategies in here for degeneracy, and they start to, for example, just trying to sleep with as many women as possible. Those men are damaged, and I was damaged as well. Those men have got trauma, they've got like problems, and just so much fucking like illness from childhood problems that they then end up enacting in when they're adults with women who have had the same problems. And so it's like both the dirty degenerates. Everyone in a nightclub, for example, is like a dirty degenerate who was just hurt as a child, and everyone in a nightclub is red pilled basically. And so you can go about this being a degenerate by, for example, trying to sleep with as many girls as possible, trying to sleep with like Jessicas. My advice has always been, don't get close to Jessicas, because they're just boring as fuck. And even when you sleep with them, you don't even ever feel satisfied. It's it's not even a good experience literally having sex with like a girl who vapes and smokes and swears and she's like, she sounds like low class. It's literally not even nice to sleep with a girl like that, so I wouldn't be recommending that. But for example, this will help you with that. This will also help you to attract like a girlfriend. This will also help you on first dates with all kinds of women. This will help you in your marriage. So you don't have to use this for degeneracy. I don't advise that you ever become a degenerate. I advise that you just keep leveling up and at the same time learn how to speak to women. Go on dates with nice girls. Me, even if they're not exactly like wife quality, that's like a nice experience. It's a fun moment where you can go and like go flirt with the fucking gym girl, man. Even if she's got like a couple of tattoos, learn how to speak to girls, learn how to be next to them, learn how to flirt with them. Just don't have like dirty degenerate sex from like nightclub girls. And that's the most like dirty degenerate thing that you can do. And I really don't recommend any of us go out to fucking dirty nightclubs or anything like that. But if, for example, there's a girl there who's very attractive and she's pretty smart and she's like a nice girl and she's fairly funny, go on a fucking date with her and use some of this stuff and actually like get to the point where you feel confidence with girls. Because I'll just tell you right now, one last thing is, a lot of guys might be watching this and they'll say the same fucking parrot shit of like, oh, I don't care about girls. I don't care about girls. I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm just going to focus on my own development, my money, my self improvement. This is your self improvement. Every man that you look up to right now, all of the influencers, I'm telling you right now, they're all red pilled and they learned this stuff at your age. It's a cope. When young guys say, like, oh, I'm not focused on girls right now, that's a fucking cope. Yeah, girls should never be your priority, of course. But knowing how to attract them is an absolutely like fundamental part of being a man. You're basically a broken man. If you don't know how to speak to girls, you are basically a broken man. Honestly, you're not even a man. You're basically like a weird fucking grown up boy with like flab and like bitch titty gyno, right? If you can't even speak to the opposite sex, now you don't have to be a degenerate. You don't have to sleep with them. But if you're fucking weird around girls, you're not even a man at that point. And so it's of utmost importance that none of us parrot the same fucking self improvements, monk mode bullshit. Oh, I'm not focused on girls, bro. Just focus on yourself, king. Fucking cringe statements that little losers say. None of that. None of that bullshit. Don't bullshit yourself. As always, just visualize if you could have the exact moment right now, like if we could click our fingers and at 10 p.m. or whatever, you're just about to go to sleep and we could put like a beautiful girl in front of you. Shut the fuck up if you would tell me, like, oh no, actually, I just go to sleep. Shut up. Shut up. Of course you wouldn't. So don't bullshit yourself to think, oh, I don't care about girls. Yes, you fucking do. It's just that you're struggling with them. It's just that you're not getting them. Now you don't care about them. Now it's easy for you to say, yeah, I don't care about girls. So you can level up this skill and it will actually improve literally by getting red pilled and by learning to speak to girls. You will make more money. You will feel more mature. Your testosterone will go up. Your fitness will literally go up because you'll have more motivation for it. So if you're in this, Adonis protocol mode where you're really focused on grinding, this is the perfect time to learn red pill because women are the greatest like motivators for men to work hard. And so it now is the time for you to not be parroting bullshit saying I'm not focused on girls, but rather for you to be thinking, fuck, if I'm focused on money, if I'm focused on fitness, if I'm focused on my development as a man, this is actually going to help me because suddenly I'll have extra motivation because suddenly like I know how to speak to girls now. That vague idea of finding my future wife and having children, I like it, but it's like it always felt like a little bit like vague and dark and I didn't really understand how I do it. This will teach you. This will give you the skill of being able to find the kind of woman that you want, and therefore like it'll give you a reason to work even harder in your day-to-day life. So I know that by if you're watching all this right now, most likely you're not going to parrot the same bullshit. But if you see someone on the community post, just do this one action step. If you see someone parrot that bullshit of like, I'm just focused, focus on yourself, King. Fucking reply back to them and tell them what I've just said because it doesn't make sense. I'm telling you right now, as like as a successful man who focused on myself, focusing on myself, a huge part of that was also learning to speak to girls. It's only complete cowards who don't want to because they're just scared of like a little 130-pound female looking at them and scaring them off. I'm telling you right now, every guy you're looking up to, Andrew Tate, E-Man, Mike Thurston, all these guys, they all started to learn how to date when they were in high school and college. They didn't get into serious relationships. You don't want to be, getting ready to marry a girl you meet at 16 and she's not even that high quality. Of course not. Have high standards, but you still need to learn how to talk to girls. You still need to learn how to not be a complete spurg next to them when the female waitress comes up. You need to learn how to fucking look her in the eyes and speak with like a charming voice. And when you have like a female friend, you need to learn how to like speak to her in a different way than to your guys. And when you eventually do stumble past a woman that you want to be with, you need to know like how to actually fucking progress that so she likes you and she's attracted to you. So that's one action step I just want to ask you for as an act of leadership. If you do see any like kids inside of either Adonis school or Adonis gang say the same fucking bullshit, focus on yourself, King. Just reply back to them, say like, this is focusing on yourself. Like learning to speak to girls is a huge part of your self-improvement journey. Don't slack on that. And it doesn't need to be degenerate. When you're ready, let's start going over the brutal red pill truths. A lot of the red pill is brutal and hard to swallow. And so I'm just going to give you a little disclaimer right now. There's going to be some things that we're going to talk about in this course that might make you start hating women if this is the first time you've been hearing stuff like this. That's called the red pill anger stage, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. If you start to feel like you start to hate women after taking this course, I understand because I've been there myself. There's like stages of taking the red pill, and the anger stage is the first one. Soon you get to the point where you kind of accept it and you realize, oh, basically I was just lied to. I was lied to think that women were these like pure creatures and they were so wholesome and they want the guy who's being nice to them. Eventually you realize they just want the guy who's a bit more of an asshole and who hits the back of their throat like with his cock. Like literally, it's just absurd when you realize the truth about women. It starts making you feel so dirty and hateful towards them. But it's only because you've been sold a lie of what women are like. They've very intelligently like covered it up to make you seem like women have got low sex drives, like they're not out fucking. I'm telling you right now, the girl that you've got a crush on right now has recently sat on like a Chad's face in the last like 2 weeks. She sat on his face and he ate her pussy. I'm just telling you right now, the girl that you've got a crush on has done some like dirty, like degenerate shit before. Most likely, right? You might meet a girl who's like 16 and she's never done anything fine. But I'm telling you, many women have as high sex drives as men do. Many women masturbate 2-3 times a day to like fucked up, aggressive, interracial porn or some shit. Like that, once you realize the truth about women, it can be like this unveiling, and you're suddenly pissed off and you hate women because you're realizing like all this time when you were being proper nice, you remember those memories of you being nice to girls and they basically threw it in your face. Now you're gonna realize doing the exact opposite of what you used to do is gonna work. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's going to work. You're going to use what you've used in this course on the next few girls, and you're going to realize that every time you use the red pill right, it's going to work. And it's going to surprise you, excite you, and piss you off at the same time because you're going to think, like, wait, this is how you attract girls like this? It almost feels like abuse in a certain way. It almost feels like being too much of an asshole, and it fucking works over and over again with all kinds of women. You can certainly go about red pill too aggressively, too much of an asshole, of course, but like you'll realize that being 10-50% more red pill, being like 50% more of an asshole for most guys is actually a good thing. It's actually like how men should be. Men should be like generally like assholes and selfish. Men really should be selfish. They're not these days, and they start to prioritize women. And then what happens when you prioritize women and you're so obsessed with this one girl and you'll change your schedule for her? She's fucking the guy who's not even doing that. So don't go through this You know what? I was going to say don't go through this with hate, but if you do feel hateful, I actually don't blame you. And what I'm asking for the guys who, are a bit more advanced, maybe you've heard of the red pill before and you've had like a bit more of the realization. If you see someone in the community post who is in that hate, that sort of anger phase, don't be aggressive towards them. Don't call them an idiot. Just remember, like, for many men, they have an anger phase for the first few months of realizing this where they're pissed off. I was the exact same. So if I do see a community post of someone saying, like, oh, girls are this, girls are that, I'll understand. Of course, I'll tell them, like, shut up, stop being a pussy, and like, get to the next phase. But it's like, understand that some men will actually go through this with disgust and huge negative emotions. So let's begin with women's sexual strategy. I explained to you let me just do this so your brain doesn't fuck up. I explained to you the red pill is men's sexual strategy, which is to basically act like an alpha male and to spread your seed as far and wide as possible. Women's sexual strategy is completely different. Women want to get impregnated by who? The alpha male. Why? Because he has the best genes. So women want to be impregnated by the man who has the best genes for survival and for strength. Issue is that man going to stay around and help her look after the baby? No. By nature of a man being an alpha male with incredible genes, with strong signs of like basically biological strength, he will not be the kind of man who will stay around because that kind of man will then go off to the next woman to impregnate her and the next one and the next one and the next one. So inherently, women are sexually attracted to the kind of man who will not stay. They will not say this to you. They will lie to your face. Not it's not even a lie. It's like consciously what a woman this is just a general thing I should have already said, but like consciously what women say is complete bullshit. They don't even realize it. They're not even lying. They just don't realize what their subconscious like programming is. Most people don't, and I don't blame them for this. But girls say to you that they want a guy who's nice. If I told a girl like, "Oh yeah, you want the guy who will fuck you and leave you," they'll be like, "Oh no, I don't." Like, because consciously they don't. Consciously they don't. Subconsciously they keep fucking sleeping with that guy. So it's like you could literally imagine this conversation of you saying this like say a modern Western woman, and she's like, "No, I don't. I hate those guys." But you keep fucking them. You've literally fucked like 10 of those guys who fucked you and then went and fucked the next girl, right? So don't listen to like what women say, oh, this is what I want. It sounds odd to say that of like, don't listen to what they say that they want, but it won't actually serve you well. Listen, you don't listen to the fish, you listen to the fisherman. If the fisherman tells you this is the way you catch the fish, you pay attention to that. If the fish start fucking talking about this is the way that I'd get caught, no one gives a fuck, bro. No, I'm not trying to learn from the fish. I'm trying to learn from the man who can pull the fish, right? And so this is what men who can pull the fish will tell you. Women are inherently attracted to the kind of like alpha male who will sleep with them and then leave because that symbolizes that that is a strong, powerful man. Issue is that that puts her in a vulnerable state because now she has a baby which has got really good genes, that's awesome, but then she's going to lack the survivability. So what does she need to do? What kind of man can she settle down with? Most likely, an alpha male will not settle down. So she's going to look for more of a beta male. So this is women's optimal sexual strategy. Just like men sounded kind of crazy, where I said, okay, men's optimal sexual strategy with no restraints, if we weren't going to judge, is basically Genghis Khan. Go over and fuck as many women as possible and have as many children as possible. That makes you like the most sexually successful man. Of course, it's all fucked, it's morally wrong, whatever, whatever. But in terms of just pure biology, that's the most sexually successful man. In terms of women, the most sexually successful woman is the one who's been impregnated by the man who's the most powerful with the best genes, but he won't stay. So, therefore, the best tactic for a woman is to get impregnated by the alpha male and then get a good like safe beta male to help look after her and the children. And this is exactly what women do. Like in the modern day, they'll get impregnated by a guy, and then like they'll get like a nice chump, like safe option to help look after them. There's a module here which is about getting cucked. So basically, you're with a girl and she cheats on you, and she gets pregnant with that guy's kid, and you end up raising the kid thinking it was yours. That happens more often than you realize. Like you don't realize how often men, like how many men right now are raising a little boy or girl that they think is theirs, and it's not, because she went out and literally just cheated one random night. You don't realize how common that is. I'm going to bring up like shit we can talk about. But that's women's sexual strategy. Now, along with this, women date and fuck upwards. What this means is like, and men do this as well. So this is called hypergamy, and this is kind of like the tendency that you will look for someone who is higher up than you. Women in general will not date a man that they deem is lower value than them. If a woman thinks that she's a 7 out of 10, she will not date a guy who's less than a 7. Now it's her perspective, because for example there's times when there's a girl who's really attractive, but she's with a guy who's like less attractive. You might have seen that. You've probably seen it in like movies. Or even in real life, there's like a couple in the gym, for example. That can happen, but it's all based on the woman's own perspective. And so many women have like self-esteem issues and stuff. Many women have the exact opposite, where they have inflated self-esteem. So you can see that there's going to be a bit of a variety. Basically, let's say there's a genuine 5 out of 10 girl. She posts to Instagram. What's going to happen? She gets loads of likes. Suddenly she thinks she's a 6. A 9 out of 10 horny guy fucks her once, and now she thinks she's a 7, because you know this ultra chad fucked her once, and you know she's like kind of holding on to that status symbol. Suddenly this girl who's actually a 5 thinks she's a 7, and she won't spend time with you because you're technically a 5 as well. And so she's looking for a guy now that is like a 7. Issue is those 7s, those like 7 out of 10 guys probably don't want to actually settle down with her, so it creates this like weird fucked up dynamic with no one's happy. But basically women will keep wanting to choose a guy who's higher up than them. And in general, men often are fine with choosing a woman who's lower down than you are. So it's the dynamic that we're, you know, it's the wealthy guy who meets the quite poor lady and ends up like falling in love with her, and that's fine. That doesn't seem weird. Whereas the opposite way around, if there's a beautiful, attractive, and even rich woman, she probably wouldn't want to date unless she had mental health problems. A fat, ugly, homeless man with no money. It would seem absurd. Whereas you can actually imagine like high quality men, like actually might even end up falling in love with a fucking homeless woman who's like fairly attractive, right? You might think like, oh, I'd never, but you could really see the possibility of that. Women date upwards. What does this mean? She's constantly, subconsciously analyzing for better options. This doesn't mean that, for example, if you walk past a man who's got more muscle than you, that your girl will suddenly go and fuck him. Of course not. Let's be a little bit more realistic. What it does mean is that she will have some kind of pull, some kind of desire for the man who is better than you, and certainly better than her. So this means that being in love with a woman is this constant game where you need to make sure that your value is high. It also means that attracting a woman means that you need to be significantly like more valuable, attractive, and you know just value in general than she is. So in general, what you'll see with a man is like men will often date girls who are like below them. Like a man might date a girl who's beautiful, and she's technically out of his league. But then the rest of her traits are just awful. Like she's just unintelligent, she's stupid, she's bitchy, she's annoying, everything, right? So if we have to encapsulate everything into like a number, like out of 10, we've got to take into account personality and how like nice they are to be around. And in general, a man will have to date a girl who's far lower than him. This means that for you to get a girl who's on your level, you'll have to go work for an extra 2 years to attract her, and you're actually better than that now. So this is just the sad like card that men get. It's just because men are fine with sleeping downwards, basically. So here's some dark truths about women's sexual strategy. Women have